wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a...
Hello and welcome listeners to another episode of Tactical Awareness. It's season 3, episode 3, the N5 launch week episodes, and today we are breaking down Skillz to pay the bills. We are a Canadian podcast, and I'm joined by my friends Owen and Dan. My name's Ash, and we break down Corvus Belli's landmark sci-fi game, Infinity. So today we're going to be going through what's changed about how you do stuff on the battlefield. So let's check in with the guys, see how they're doing, and get this underway. Because we're doing it. We're doing it again. We're doing the Skillz.
Not in public. Wait, what?
People can't see outside of us. They only get that in the special patrons only after dark version of this. With the pants off, dance off. So there's a whole other episode that we are going to be doing after this. But today we're going to be talking about, my God, the Skillz. All the Skillz. Because you've been making a list, haven't you, Dan? All the little changes.
Yeah, it's mixed in with all the other general skills too.
It's okay. I've also got a list here in front of me. But hey, everybody, welcome to Tactical Awareness. My name is Ash, and I'm here with Owen and Dan, and we are doing our N5 launch week reflections. We've all played some games. We've all been able to take in the new rulebook. And if you've listened to the previous 2 episodes, you know what this is. This is the slop you've been craving. So slop it up. Slop boys. Let's do it. We're going to be talking about some delightful skill changes or new skills in this edition and what we think about them, as well as some of the core mechanic stuff. And I think we'll just probably lead with that because core movement was something I brought up in our big first impressions video or the podcast. It is real hard to hide in this edition in N5. You can just kind of get everywhere. And there's 3 big changes that I think we should talk about before we talk about anything else, because I think they inform all of these other kind of skill changes, and that is move, jump, and climb. Right? Big changes to move. You can go prone at the end or start of a short skill. Big changes to jump. If you have super jump, you can jump as a short skill. If you have a super jump with a bracket number, you can jump that far, and you can combine it with moves. We were just talking off camera how someone with super jump 8 can jump 8 inches, then move their second short movement skill like 4 inches, and then be prone at the end, which is previously not something that you were able to do. And then climb is now a fixed 6 inches. It basically incorporates, it's all measured from the bottom of your base, but it basically incorporates the height of your silhouette, which was something you added to your climb in the previous edition. And that means that like a 6-inch climb where you can also, and they've added the fact that you can stick to the side of a building as long as you do consecutive orders and complete your climb, is...
You don't have to do consecutive orders.
Oh, you can just stick there no matter what.
You can just stick there. But if you don't have climbing plus, you're a bump on a log. You can't arrow. You can't do anything. You can't dodge. You're just going, I don't know how I'm holding onto this steer surface.
You are scared and alone is what you are. And those are pretty dramatic changes to the mobility of individual models. We kind of talked a little bit about how the old practice of making your opponent bleed orders to come to you and come find you in turn 1, if you were the reactive player, if you were going second, was pretty common. A lot of people would just keep their heads down. We had an old saying in N3 and N4 called ABP, always be prone when you're deploying, because you never know. It's not such a good idea in N5. You need to have a plan for when they're going to come for you, because it's taking about half as many orders to engage in fighting that you previously would have to walk all the way around buildings and find stairways and stuff to get to. So
I don't know about half as many, but I would say like 50%. What am I trying to say?
One order to climb is not a lot.
But the problem is that you have to be you can't like walk up and go with a 6-inch. You have to you have to end your order in base to base with the thing you're climbing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a long skill climb if you don't have climbing plus.
If you don't have climbing plus, yeah.
But here's the thing, climbing plus also changed, where climbing plus used to mean vertical surfaces are horizontal surfaces interchangeably. Now it's just you can use the climb as a short skill, and that's it. And obviously, and then you're not boned if you're on the side of a wall. You can do all the other short skills as well. And so what that means is if you have climbing plus and you're 1 inch away from a wall, you got to do 1 inch move, and then your second move goes up the wall.
You can't skate.
But-
you can't skate up the wall like you used to be able to.
However, your movement characteristic is always 6, which is almost always a buff for everybody with climbing plus. Like there's some people with 6'2", but that means your second movement can be 6 inches up a wall.
Can be 6 inches up a wall as well. Yeah.
But that's the same thing when you're finished climbing as well. If you get to the bottom or the top, once you get to that top, once you can be
done.
fully
You don't keep
supported,
moving.
you have to stop moving there.
Yeah.
And so that it's a
reduces
nerf
your
and a buff to climbing plus as well, because it does slow you down a bit where you can't be super efficient.
Unless you
But at
like
the same
stay
time-
on walls and go like sideways up walls.
But then you don't have any cover, and so it's kind of like depending on how you're doing it. So it's not clear to me how that's going to turn out. It might be a wash and feel the same efficacy, but the fact that regular people now can get up to you can position yourself on a wall and then just climb down.
It does kind of feel like it's par for the course in this edition though, where the ceilings come down on certain skills, right? They're not incredible anymore, but they've been given access to people that didn't have them before. You know what I mean? Like climb became more universally good for everybody, but climbing plus for the people like, our Sujans of the world who would just skate along things isn't quite as good as it used to be.
Yeah, that like 8 move I can use instead of the normal climb, but I can't use it as part of a climb and part of a normal movement.
Yeah.
So that's a big nerf.
What do you think, Owen?
And also I can't dodge up a wall as well.
I mean, climbing plus and super jump were like climbing plus was always just objectively better. And now super jump is way more common and climbing plus is harder to use because it has the restriction of having to start base to base now. So like, I don't know. It's fine that people are faster.
Yep.
Putting your head down the whole game was annoying and boring. And I'd rather people were shooting each other more. So, I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It all ties into the link team is being nerfed. So,
yes.
You don't have to worry about being standing because you're not going to get shot by someone who's ballistic skill 25 and immune to all your special rules. It's like, sweet.
But
ignores your cover, ignores your commitmentism, ignores your everything. Yeah.
And you also got to realize that jump used to be from the top of your base, and now it's from the bottom of your base. And so you're almost losing 2 inches in your normal jumps anyways, unless it's like
gaining it,
completely. So
and then getting it right back by being 6 inches.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is that, so it's like, is it actually a buff?
It's like I said, it's bringing the bottom up, right? So it's bringing those 4/4 troopers that couldn't do it well to standard, right? Whereas it does nothing to improve the lives of like 6/2 heavy infantry doing it, right? It brings the ceiling down the guys who are really good at it and pulls up the bottom a little bit, so it's all somewhere in the middle. But it does overall mean that the vast majority of people's miniatures will have a quicker time traversing the table.
I'm not convinced. Maybe a little faster, but I'm not sure if it's significantly faster. Maybe.
Well, think about all the tables that we play on. Many of them have that generic card, like hard stock or board terrain. And all of those buildings are 4 inches tall.
Yep.
And so now you can climb from the bottom to the top in one order, whereas before you couldn't.
Right. So that's, I think, accessibility with the climbing being like a full skill that gives you the 6 inches and you can end on it if you really need to, definitely gives more like accessibility. But and I was arguing that before, like that was one of my main changes in the game. But it's like for people who already have climbing plus,
climbing plus is just worse.
Like, right.
Yeah, effectively worse. Yeah.
Right. So they're not moving as fast.
Nope.
So it's kind of, but they were the fast movers before. And so it's kind of even. I guess, no, you're saying you're bringing the bottom people up. I agree. I think it really confused me as a new player when I was like, oh, I have my baggage bot who's move 4 and he's a really big base. And I want to climb down this building I'm on. But there's no real stairs.
There's
around.
No physical way for me to do this.
So I was like, I can make it this far. So like, what's the rules on like falling? Like once I climb partially and then fall to the ground, and then they're like, there's no rules for that. I'm like,
there's no rules for that at all.
But also, it's also clarified in the movement thing when climbing down is that all you have to be is at the base of the edge, and with the parapet. It doesn't really clarify because it shows the person starting on the parapet, but you can't because it doesn't cover your whole base, like we talked about last episode. So I'm guessing it just if you're just touching the parapet on the edge. When you start climbing, you just measure from the edge of the building going down.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to worry about edging out your full base and then snapping down and then going down. Like it's just like you just start measuring down. And then you have to measure out at the bottom.
Yep.
And then I guess it's similar to what it was before. Because when you're going up, you go up. And
this doesn't reference hurdling. It's just ignore the parapets, right? That's all it says. So it doesn't matter how big or small or what shape.
For whatever reason, I read it.
Measure.
Yeah, I read it and I understood it immediately, and it seemed intuitive, which was nice. Well, before I was like, "Huh? What? Huh?" So that's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. It just seems to be the theme for this.
Also, how they've explained the new guts.
Go on.
It's. I think it's similar to what it was before, but it's just it describes it so beautifully, and I'm not even going to bring it up because I'm pretty sure.
But you did bring it up.
No, I'm not going to bring up the rules. I'm just going to spout it off of memory.
Oh, sure, go for it.
Where it's if you get hit, and we have to take courage, you have to take guts. Its first priority is move out of line of sight or zone of control.
Yep.
Second priority is move to cover.
Second priority is getting out of the area of effective attacks that didn't require line of fire or the danger zone. So leaving the zone of control of like a hacker.
Well, that's why I said zone of control.
Yeah. Or a blast template, right? You move outside the blast template if it was a blast template.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, maybe. For guided missiles.
Wait, your guts is you try to move outside the guided
danger zone or area effect of attacks that did not require line of fire. So any attack like a grenade or a guided missile, you have to try and move outside the template.
But if you get hit directly, you can't. Because you only move 2 inches.
It's just to try and get out of it, that's all.
Okay.
If not possible, the trooper must move up to 2 inches to gain total or partial cover.
Right. But then it's from the very start, if none of it's possible, then you just go prone.
Yep. Facing in any direction the player chooses.
So now the question is it line of fire of where, maybe it's not so clear after all. So maybe is it line of fire of where the attack came from, or where?
Check the enemy line of fire area effect from the trooper's final position at the end of the order when the guts roll was made.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
When checking the enemy's line of fire area effect, if the trooper is already outside them and the gut roll has failed, then you just enter prone, facing a direction of your choice.
Right. So if I shot a gap and shot across the board at somebody,
well, I did it. Yeah, you're just already there.
Not even a template, just shot a regular shot, with an HMG or something, and I hit somebody who was out of cover, but I'm now out of line of fire and way across the board. Then the only thing they can do is go prone.
Yeah.
Because they can't see me.
Anyways. Nice.
I was always confused by it.
Yeah.
And it just seemed simpler. They seemed like they cleared up the wording, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've never actually read a rule book in Infinity before, and you guys just told me all the rules.
That's right.
And it was just like, you're like,
it into your brain.
Hey, here's how it works. And I would just check the wiki and wait, I don't think this is how that works. Oh no, it does. And then or oh no, it does.
You would try and disprove something that Owen had done to you usually, and then he would show you why you were wrong. You would look for some proof that he was wrong and then find it.
You guys are wrong sometimes.
We were wrong sometimes. We were absolutely.
But it was always the wiki. I learned everything from the wiki, and the basics of everything I was just taught in person. I never read a thing. Nope. It was weird reading a rule book.
That's it. Just our oral tradition of teaching people.
Exactly.
So other new skills. Let's start going down the skills list. Aerial. What do we think about this? So vehicles now exist in Infinity. Most of them are flyers. They have the aerial skill. It just basically sums up as you can't be prone or engaged, which means you can't be attacked in melee. And when the skill is active, the troopers never insulate contact with their models, objectives, or scenery items, and vice versa. So you can't hold objectives. And troopers with a special skill cannot declare cautious moves. And guard can't fight you unless the aerial skill's in the unconscious state. And that means it's on the ground. So do we care about this? Does it do anything?
It's kind of everything you'd expect it to be, which is nice. It's kind of okay, it's flying. You can't get cover. You can't get in the melee with it. You can't guard against it.
It feels a little bit like when they first tried to put flyers in 40K. You remember that, Owen?
Yeah.
When they were just unchargeable shoot boxes. right? And everybody took like 7 Storm Ravens. This feels a little bit like that. They're like, we really don't know how to handle vehicles, so we'll just make them immune to a bunch of stuff and not able to do a bunch of stuff, and they'll just be these bricks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super engaged by the aerial stuff that they've released rules wise or really model wise, at least from the renders that came out about them.
Yeah.
So like they have aerial. It is a net negative in my opinion. Like you don't get meleeed, but you lost the ability to go prone and take cover. Or at least all of them have no cover that I've seen.
They're all size 7. You can't hide at all.
And they're all giant. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a time where everyone's fast.
So here's my only comment. I think aerial would be cool if they gave us some drop troops that had transmutation, where one of their profiles had aerial and one of them didn't. Where they could like
there
hover.
is one. There is one.
Is there?
The Hawk Islam guy loses aerial when he transmutes down and turns into just an infantry.
Oh, did they put it on the Namur, or what was that guy called? The Mukhtar?
No. One of their planes, one of the aerial planes that exist, those size 7 guys,
just loses aerial.
He turns into a size 2 dude
on the ground.
Like running around. Yeah.
Well, I just think it would be cool. It would be cool to have like a dude who's got like the Mandalorian jetpack. You know what I mean? Where like he can just choose to be aerial or not. So basically, you're giving up cover and being able to hold an objective for being in the air all of a sudden, not being able to be in melee and like blasting away.
Yeah. If melee was like good, because there is no melee in Infinity. Everyone knows
melee is
that.
better now.
So shotguns are worse now, is what you mean.
We'll talk about it more.
Shotguns are worse. So melee got better. 66% of templates went away. So
I just think it's funny that the Zabak operator, who is structure 3, he has albedo 6. He's one of the flyers for Hawk.
The flyers, yeah.
They have 2, but he's 3 wounds, and then he has a transmutation escape system when he goes to his last wound. And then if he takes another wound, he'd go unconscious. But because you have Doctor 2s in Hawk Islam, you can heal him back up to 2
3
wounds.
wounds. Yeah, sure.
You can't go to 3 because you can only go to 2.
Yeah,
but you could go to 2.
Yep.
Which means you now have
another
another.
Vitapack, buddy. 3 with a Vitapack.
He's arm 3, BTS 3, BS12 Spitfire just running around.
He just gets all jacked up.
That is,
we'll talk about that when we talk about transmutation, because there is some you and I have both spent the day basically texting each other back and forth being like, how can we get these people back to how can I get Maximus back to 4 wounds? And the answer is Parvati and a Vita pack. You can do it. You can definitely make tag Maximus on foot, have 4 wounds again.
Or just rebuild your trip hammer midway through the game.
Yeah, exactly. Just have Chernobog have 4 wounds again.
It is bad form though. No,
it is bad form. It's clearly not what was intended, but we'll get there when we get to transmutation. It was a thought that like this aerial could be cool in the future if they use it in interesting and unique ways. I think just on these vehicles, it's just boring. Because it's old 40k flyers, right? It's just
look, reinforcements was a bad rule, and it's still a bad rule, but maybe it'll become a rule one day, just like aerial.
Well, the issue is that they'll do what they've done in other instances where certain profiles out of the aerial group are going to just be like overwhelming. Like Combined didn't get one, right? And neither did ALF.
Get one?
No. You know what they're going to bring back for Combined, Owen? They're going to bring back your squid drones, except they're all going to fly.
Be fine. Cool. That's something. Yeah,
I got cool as hell.
Like the Go Pod, which is like the big threatening one on the active turn. If he had a weapon that could suppress, and he does if you bring the multi rifle, but then you don't get the rockets. But like, I would be bringing the Go Pod with the multi-rifle, move 8, because it's super jump, jet propulsion, jump 8, and then put it on suppression. And now it is BS attack -3, mimetism -3, suppression -3, and there's no real counterplay to that.
No.
It just is there, and you have to kill this like 38-point multi-wound.
Right. You can't charge it.
Starting at -9, and you can't get him in melee. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think you should be immune to mines too.
No,
like,
we're getting into unit profiles. We're trying to stick to Skillz here. So, but yes, I understand what you're saying. It could be neat for certain profiles because it basically takes away the melee counterplay to certain states like suppressing and
right. I just mean to say that this skill is only tied to like 5 profiles, and so like the only way to measure it is against the things that currently exist, and all of them have like glaring problems right now. Like,
yeah,
they can do one thing usually, and aerial has nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
they could have been anything.
Their
They could have
stop
been
block
tags.
their stop block is more important than the aerial portion of it,
Right.
basically.
All
Look,
aerial
you
did
have the
was
Yujing flyer that can do 0 damage.
Okay.
But it can isolate and immobilize
Moving
all
on.
the heavy infantry.
We're in a booty.
Berserk isn't opposed, which is
Berserk isn't
relevant.
opposed. Oh, sorry, that
Or
is
sorry,
relevant. Sorry, that
Berserk
changed,
is
yeah.
opposed now.
Is opposed now. You get your CC bonus. It's basically old assault. So you get to move twice your move value. They got rid of assault. You can move twice your move value if you're in line of fire at the beginning of an order, and then make a melee attack as a long skill. You get your bonus, and then that's it.
It's more interactive. It's fine. It's
fine too.
And it gets rid of the needless piece trading of like, oh, there's that CC monster who also has mimetism, and I don't know what to do about him. I'll send a berserker in, and they'll kill each other.
It means that you don't get non-interactive McMurrowed. You know what I mean? When you can only possibly do 1 wound to him, and he walks over and just goes, and I hit you with my fucking possibility of survival rating 3 APDA weapon, right? Like, just obliterates you.
So it's good.
There you go.
I think it's fine. Booty, effectively the same. I didn't see anything new in here.
Nope.
Slight, like, rewordings.
There's more buffs for tags, I think.
No, it's the
No,
same.
they were all the
Is
same.
it the same?
No.
Yeah, it's actually worse for tags because they used to get immunity, like total, and they don't get that.
Gone.
Now
So,
you
well,
get
it's
AP
immunity
or arm.
Yeah.
Well, there's immunity AP, but they're separate now.
Yeah, on 2 different things.
The
Immunity AP is the
booty,
worst version.
The rulebook booty chart is not accurate.
Why is
Unless,
that?
Oh. Wait,
unless
which
they've
one? The
re-updated
reference one or the one at the bottom? Because they're different.
The one on page 87.
87? Why isn't that accurate?
It's
not the
just
same
it's not a full. They only half filled it out. Like it should, anything with tag also gives something to a regular trooper.
Yeah, if you go to 187, it's the full one.
Oh, I see. They put. They're missing some. You're right. 16 is
Yeah.
tag, BS stack, shock. 17 is other troop dice, multi rifle. It's missing whatever the entry is below that, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, somebody who laid that out wrong.
The coolest thing I think on there that didn't exist before is tag BS attack +1 burst
Yeah,
on a 20.
at the bottom.
But like, count on one hand how many tags have booty rolls, right? Like,
it's the trip hammer.
and when he gets that
And he's in
+1 burst,
he's in 3 factions in N2A, and that's it. He's gone
Yeah.
from all the other fucking lists, so it's irrelevant.
I think that was tag Mim 6 before, so they've lost that.
no, Mim 6 is still just around. Either gets
It's-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that 7? I'm looking at the old one, or the
Yeah.
incomplete one.
Because you used to get total immunity and Mim 6. Those were the two, like, oh, if I could get this on my tag, it'd be great. And I know it's both of those because I've gotten all of those playing multiple times with like a gang of booty tags.
Yeah, I remember my troop hammer got -6 and then died to a flamethrower.
I remember my Harris of Anaconda and Trip Hammer getting total immunity and then Mim 6 back to back to back in a tournament.
Yep.
But we can briefly talk about booty. How most factions lost their booty mercenaries.
Because all the mercenaries got pulled from a lot of the primary factions. I think that's worth mentioning, but like we don't need to go to the individual profiles. It was a lot more common. It's going to be, I think, more scenario common now, right? Because all the panoplies have booty rolls attached to them. So
Panoplies is a different chart.
is it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just a booty roll.
No, most people did, but no. Panoplies, it might be very similar, all the same, but panoply chart is different from a booty chart.
Huh. I thought it was completely identical. I could be wrong.
I'm at least 30% confident on this.
I think you're completely wrong. That's okay. It's fine. I'm pretty sure panoplies just caused a booty roll. But that's fine. Either way, let's move on. We talked about Clan Plus already. Chain of command is effectively the same. And then combat jump. They've incorporated explosion into there now. So the rules for explosion are on top of that. Some things like deploying inside buildings or in close pieces of scenery is not permitted, even if they have an open roof or doors, like, for example, an objective room. So you can't jump in. Little call-outs there. Courage, pass against roll automatically. Even in a retreat situation, troopers possessing courage are affected by loss of lieutenant, even though you're going to retreat. Counterintelligence, pretty much the same. And then decoy, just same. Doctor, same.
I guess there's Decoy 2, which wasn't really a thing before.
Is Nico 2 just a brackets? You place more than one?
You just get more than
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, just get more than one.
Just that is different.
Yeah, that it has a number on them.
I've never used decoy before, but when reading up on it, like you can decoy as, you can either decoy as a decoy marker or you can decoy as a state that you can be in.
Yeah, like so your camo marker
camouflage
or whatever, you can be camoed. Yeah, this Mr. Spetsnaz HMG that Owen will be bringing back to the front will be front and center as a decoy camo marker.
Extra is still garbage. They didn't change it at all.
Extra still garbage. Yeah, Dogged and Engineer the same. Explode is the same. Extra's the same.
Yeah.
Explode is not the same. Explode now gets shock ammo.
Pretty sure it always did.
Now it has shock ammo then. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
The one new one is the Fire Team Master, where for everyone who was those units that if prod in a link would become regular, they just made it a skill now and a bunch of people get it. So that's neat. Like it's a way to not have to hide it in the fire team chart. Like it's a natural skill now on the Osnat gets it and the Guangxi controller.
Yeah.
Or maybe not the Guangxi controller.
Wallace, I guess Galwegians are gone, so Wallace doesn't have to have it for Galwegians.
No.
The Liang Kai has it for monks.
That's cool. Ooh, I love that. I love my
I bet you the Taskmaster has it in Bakunin. I haven't looked, but I'm sure he will because he was one of the other ones. And then obviously that Patsy gets it in
does need for helots. Yep.
Yeah.
So going briefly back to forward deployment.
Yeah.
There now exist fire teams that exist purely of forward deployment people. So people with a forward deployment profile can be part of a fire team.
Yep. One of Owen's favorite old fire teams was the mechanized grunts? Or those what were the ones that jumped off a tank basically, mech deploy?
Oh, Halka. Yeah.
Halkas. They had mech deploy, which basically meant that they had like an APC that they were jumping off of. And so like one model got placed and everybody else got placed inside their zone of control. It was like a weird forward deployment from N2 or N3.
Yeah, you could go up to half the board, up to the midpoint.
Jumping off their truck basically.
Yep.
Frenzy's changed. So it is if you cause a wound or have someone go into the dead state, then you become impetuous and gain limited cover, which is the one where you lose the mods to hit but gain the armor bonus still. And then it cancels any marker state you're in permanently. And that's actually really important. We should probably note that impetuous, the special skill, when that happens, you gain that impetuous order that you can use. But regardless if you use it or not, you can no longer be in a marker state. And because bikes can't get rid of their impetuous anymore, our favorite Arigato killer hacker can no longer be a cyber mask.
Oh, impetuous can never be. Oh, we'll get there.
Can never be in a marker state. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, they never were able to. It's just that bikes weren't able to get rid of their impetuous before, right?
Oh, I see. Right.
So gaining that impetuous thing makes you not able to be in a marker state. Just calling it. Some of the troopers that used to be able to do that. G jumper, pretty much the same. It's typically.
I'll have to trust you on that one.
I'm not reading that.
It's just for post-humans. This big fucking wall of gobbledygook. It just means that you put whoever's active is the one that can react.
Don't worry, immunity is in the same boat.
I know. Guard's the same. Hacker's the same. You have a hacking device. Immunity's the same, except it's been broken into separate traits. So immunity total basically is now called immunity enhanced, where anything that does damage against your armor or BTS, you ignore the ammo traits of those attacks. But some things have immunity arm and some things have immunity BTS. So for instance, they don't have to call it viral on dog soldiers anymore as being like a thing they're not immune to because they only have immunity armor. So conventional attacks that target the armor stat, you'd ignore their AP, their DA, their explosive, their continuous damage, any of that stuff.
But like a breaker combi that has half BTS will still work on them.
That'll still work on them.
And flash pulses.
And flash pulses now work on them too. That's right, because it targets your BTS. Immunity state's the same as normal. So any states caused by something like possession. So for instance, Maximus is immune to possession because he's a human tag, right? So he doesn't have the ability to be possessed. And immunity critical just means critical hits only do a single hit against you. And that's it.
Okay, going back to hidden deployment briefly.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was the same before, but it goes in and it kind of clarifies in a weird, wordy way that if someone grants someone in hidden deployment an ARO, and you ARO in such a way that does not break the state, you can deploy the model in the state. For example, another camo model walks by, a hidden deployment model can deploy as a camo marker
Can
and
idle? Yeah. Yep.
That was the same before?
That's the only time I can think of that would work. Because you have to declare
or I
who's
guess it's
idling.
not idle. It's not idle. It's
delaying ARO. But
Yeah,
you have to reveal that there's something there to delay ARO. That's literally the only situation that would happen.
Right. But like if it's near the end of the turn, you can.
Because you're not performing an order, you're declaring your ARO, but you have to declare who's doing it, which means the hidden deploy model has to appear on the table.
And that's the only ARO that doesn't reveal you. Besides the
it's not even ARO. It's just declaring that you're delaying an ARO.
It is an ARO choice, though. It is.
It is, yes, but it's only available against scout markers. Impersonation's damn different. The -6 to spot them on the first level of impersonation is now only -3, and it's still 0 at level 2. And then you still count as friendly. You can't be deployed in contact with enemy and neutral models, markers, tokens, or in contact with any mission objective. And apart from that, it's pretty much the same. Obviously, one of the big problems with impersonation now is that biovisors got to good at what they do. Somebody put a patch in and improve their firmware, and now they can actually ignore all the mods. And if they detect you on any level, you go straight to revealed.
At last, we can solve the problem that these 2 models that we gave this ability to cost.
Is it only 2 models? 3?
Well, everybody with Cybermask had it, but you'd only ever be impersonation 2, so it didn't matter. Right? Like,
they're arguably Algebel because he's technically a 3rd profile, but he's just a Fide.
Yeah, he's just
it's just the
Fides and
Speculators. Yeah, and then there are other guys out there who have impersonation, but they were always the lower tier.
Yeah,
it was only Fides and Speculos who had that. In that particular, I have to be discovered twice, and once at -6.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's -3, and now if you have a visor, you just instantly reveal them on the first try.
As long as you pass the test, yeah.
A biovisor.
Yeah.
Cool.
Infiltration, same. Spiral leadership, same. Lieutenant, same. Limited covers, new. That's the one that gets applied to people who are impetuous, so you don't get the -3 BS mod for partial cover. You can still have things like nano screens, though, and other things. Usually those guys have no cover, though, because the nano screen replaces it. And then marksmanship, you ignore the negative BS mods imposed by partial cover and nano screen. It calls out nano screen as being ignored by marksmanship now, which is kind of cool.
Sucker.
Take that. But Albedo now affects marksmanship, which is an interesting change. So Albedo affects visors and marksmanship.
Who has marksmanship but doesn't have MSZ?
A bunch of people. All the Spetsnaz. Wild Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Fucking get on our level, Dan. Zaydens. All of Zaydens.
Guys, I know my little corner of Infinity, okay? That's all I know.
Bolts.
I guess all bolts have it, but only one has MSV. You're right.
That's right.
You're right. Okay.
I do want to also comment on the infiltration part.
Sure.
All of those models out there who had bonuses to infiltration now have a infiltration equals X stat line.
Yeah. They fixed it to a number.
Then you still get the -3.
You always get those minuses if you choose to do like the further than, but it's not playing I have +6 and it's -3.
You don't have to do the math. They just give you the number.
Is that an 18?
Yeah.
Wait, but that doesn't actually make any sense. Because it makes a little bit of sense, but at the same time, it's like because you normally do a whip roll, right?
What are you talking about? It's not a whip roll.
I'm getting there. I'm gonna get there, guys.
You infiltrate on a 19. If you do it past half, it's -3.
But if you don't do it past half,
you just pass.
I just felt Owen's blood pressure go up from here in Ontario.
the only reason you'd ever use the special number 19 is when you -3 to it.
Right.
So you could almost skip a step. You know what I mean?
Unless you were a guy who didn't have a bonus to it and were just using your normal fizz to infiltrate, and then had a -3.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but why not give the new number just the including -3 and have it ignore the normal -3?
Because then that's 2 rules.
But it's less math.
Oh yeah, all it costs you is 2 rules instead of 1
much
rule.
Math.
But you could just do 1 rule and then solve that problem.
Anyway, people are already confused about it.
I'm so happy. Okay.
Doesn't matter. Only Shinobu's still going to fail the infiltrate.
So she will still immediately roll.
It's on a 16, and she's going to fail.
80% of the time, she will fail all the time.
What was it before? Was it 16?
It was always that. It was always that. Yeah, it was always the same number. She would fail every time. Oh, and I've both tried to use her, and every single time she just pops up in her opponent's zone.
Yeah.
Martial arts, and this is, I think we do have to take the time to talk about this because obviously the table for martial arts has been well talked about and changed, but it vastly improves the odds of melee fighters winning combats. And then the general reduction, like taking away Berserk and generally reducing the Natural Born Warrior problems, because all the Natural Born Warrior gets rid of now is your stats, not your burst.
The negative stats.
Yeah.
Only the negative ones.
That's right, because you keep your positive stats.
Yeah.
And we've got the additional at level 3, you get basically a fire team bonus to your melee. So +1 special dice. Level 4, you get +1 full just extra dice, +1 burst. And at level 5, you get both. So rolling 3 dice in melee with your, bananas. At level 5, I think it's what? It's Saito Token.
There's like 3 people.
No, Saito's only 4.
Shinobu. Is Shinobu one?
Shinobu's one. I think Miyamoto is another
Musashi's
one.
Yeah.
And I like that might be it. There might be one out there that I'm not remembering now.
I want to see who's got.
I really like that. 5 is definitely
no one in hack. Their highest is 3.
No, their highest is 4.
Oh, sorry. I was just looking at QK.
Oh, okay. That's because Algebella is 4. And that's why I was saying earlier when I was like, Algebella got a glow up because of that. I thought it would have been in Combined Army.
Maybe Ariadna. They go to 2.
Combined Army gets to 4. Yeah, it's really small. Like the list of guys who get to 5. But the thing is like guys like Tatarazzi's who are 4 and are cheap can now have straight up 2 hits with their DA close combat weapons.
Right.
Really good.
Yeah.
And in your reactive turn too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Musashi and Shinobu. Looks like that's it. Are the only ones. So the two greatest of the warriors.
So the question is, Owen, has the Digger been dethroned?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, super duper.
I think the real thing is like
same with Denma. Poor Denma.
All the martial arts 3 people have just like risen up after being terrible for the previous one.
They have, yeah. It's one of those things where the ceiling. I think they pushed the ceiling higher on this one and brought the bottom up to the middle a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of martial arts 2 that floats around, like a lot of it.
There's a lot of stat bonus martial arts stuff too. So like Caden First Strike, the Wolver guy with 2 wounds and a T2 close combo weapon. With possibility of survival 6, he's got CC attack just +1 burst and berserk +3. So he berserks you on 26s with martial arts 1 and with a type 2 close combat weapon and 2 burst base, right? Like he's real good. So there's some weird combos in there that are even outside of that like martial arts table that cause.
I think what's nice is even that guy who's real good, if he goes into the wrong person. Before he'd kill anything, but now he could lose.
Before a berserk, one guy would do 1 attack and 1 damage to him when he had 2 wounds, and he would just kill anybody. Right now, a martial arts 3 guy could also just kill him.
Or martial arts 4 is like, hey, 2 burst versus 2 burst.
No, but you're more like I would say with advantage, you're more likely to crit with these high stat guys, right? That's you could kill that guy with a crit now because you're fishing for 2 dice going over 20.
Right.
I like Ajax. It's just more interactive instead of the 1 die versus 1 die.
+6.
Wait, what's he got now?
Nothing.
He lost Berserk
just lost it.
+6 and just lost it?
Yep. He's got martial arts 3. That's cool.
Hector's martial arts 4 with a CC of 24.
That's 2 burst, baby.
I mean, he doesn't get. I mean, like, fine. Don't let Ajax get 2 straight up bursts on his PS4 CC 27 hammer.
Yeah.
Like, fine.
I'll allow it. Well, no, you just stick the fire team in with him. You still get the fire team bonuses to melee, right? Or the extra model.
Well, no, you don't get it. It's only BS attack. BS. But he does at level 3, he gets 2 dice, right? It's just that he doesn't get 2 burst. He just gets the special dice. So he's like might get +1 extra damage. But
do you not still get the additional burst for extra models in melee with you anymore?
You do get that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You stick the fire team in melee with somebody and get all the burst that
But he
way.
used to do it all by himself.
I know. So I'm aware. With this possibility survival 4, super hammer.
Yeah, there is some fun, like, there's some people out there that got a lot of CC attack -6 that is not countered by Natural Born Warrior.
No way to get rid of.
Yeah. There's no counter to CC attack minus.
Even Natural Warrior, like Natural Born Warrior doesn't do anything. And also
we'll get to it.
Bomb.
It ignores everything.
Yep.
No, it's
Natural Born Warrior ignores all negatives.
From martial arts.
We'll get to it.
Okay. Well, we're almost there. Metachemistry.
Fair enough.
Metachemistry. This table looks correct because there's no tags on Metachemistry, which is nice.
It seems the same.
Pretty much the same, except there's no motorcycle anymore. It's just move 8/4. You grow rollerblades. You do get total immunity still, +1 arm and immunity arm. So you get like the basic total immunity, and you can get immunity enhanced and dog it on a 17. So pretty good. I'll be honest. I like all of what's in total immunity or in Metachemistry.
Metachem was always better than Booty for reliability of actually something.
Well, because it was about your core stat line, not about your guns. Because sometimes you get a gun for somebody that just can't use it because their stats are bad. This is just like a stat boost.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any changes to Mnemonica or Morpho Scan. Natural Born Warrior. Oh God, he's right, Owen. Effects in CC face-to-face. The user ignores all negative mods imposed by the opposing trooper. Period. End statement.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
I bring value to this podcast.
You bring balance to the force. Good job. Good job. NCO. Special Lieutenant orders with tactical orders. So they're tactical orders, not regular orders. So you gain a tactical order by taking lieutenant order now, not a regular order, which is interesting.
Wait. Why would they make that different?
Because the NCO is tied to a model. So it's not like Strategos where your lieutenant order becomes a regular order. In this one, NCO converts the lieutenant order and makes it a tactical order assigned to him. I think it's just for cleanness, so you know how to refer to it. It doesn't make it a lieutenant order. It doesn't call it anything else. It just converts it to a tactical order.
Okay.
So then you know exactly how it works.
Sure.
And it also means that it works on a fire team because now it's tactical order, not a lieutenant order, right?
Oh. No, but it always worked.
It did, but it turned into a regular order back then. This is just allowing you to know how that works. So, because if it's tactical order, it has to be that NCO model that activates the fire team and is the team lead. Like it chains down into other things. Neurocynetics. The same. No cover. Don't get any benefits from partial cover mods. No wounding cap. The same. Ignore the effects of being unconscious.
I like that they separated no cover because it allowed a more design space.
You mean no cover, limited cover? Like they gave you a half version, a full version? I agree.
Or even just no cover, where it's like someone doesn't have to be impetuous. You can just give them no cover, and then it kind of balances out.
Yeah, they physically can't get into cover. You know what I mean? Like I can see them giving like weird, big, bricky tanks and vehicles no cover, which they're already doing, because they can't press itself up against a wall, right? Like it's a useful, I think, tag to have. Non-hackable, number 2 is the same. Parachutist is the same. Paramedic is the same. Peripheral, I did not notice any differences here either. Protheon?
I think parachutist changed, like combat jump, and that you can touch scenario pieces, or not. You can touch scenario. You can touch terrain when you come in, but you don't benefit from partial cover.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was the same turn, but you can move somewhere. And then if you survive a hit, you can start and cover on the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm not sure if that was the same before.
Yeah. I thought it said you also can't come in and touch a token. So my call out about trying to put the Vita pack down, you can't do that.
Didn't work. Yeah. Yeah, reading that, you're right.
So I was right again. Anyways, moving on.
Chris Dan and his literacy on. We should never have taught him to read. So Protheon. I did not see any difference here either, except it can only target models with Vita, but I think that was always the same. You can't target structure models to get your vampire wounds back.
It checks out.
Yeah, I think it's the same. Regeneration, states phase.
You guys pop back up past peripheral ancillary. That's new.
What's that?
The one where the tags deploy the little robots.
The tag pilots.
Oh, yeah, they added that in. So the ancillary, this is just to clean it up. There's no limit to the operating system trooper and a peripheral. Does not deploy on the game table with their controller, and so they pop out. If it's on the game table and is not in disconnected state or null state, their controller cannot be part of a coordinator or fire team. If the controller deploys their peripheral ancillary or is disconnected or null states are canceled, the controller automatically stops being part of the fire team.
If you only get one,
Yes.
I assumed so, but I'm not sure if it explains that anyway.
Well, I think it's just included in your stat line. Like they put, if you look at tags now, they put your peripheral as like
You
an
just get the
equipment
one.
piece that you have
Just
one.
the one, right?
Yeah.
And it
So like if
doesn't
I look
say-
at Squalo Mark
doesn't say
II,
more. So yeah.
Yeah. It says you have one. So Squalo Mark II says that he has a Crabbot as a piece of his equipment. And then there's stat lines for the Crabbot afterwards.
For melee tags, you could pop it out early and then pop around a corner and have +1 burst.
Yes. And that is probably worth talking about because they are peripherals now. They don't turn off your tag.
No,
Nope.
they just run around with you.
Yep.
Like your little Zonbot or not
Palbots.
Zonbots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
Palbots,
Palbots.
The real
Which
one
makes
is when the Seraph comes down with his Oxbot and Crabbot and his two friends team up with his martial arts CC-23 explosive close combat weapon.
Yes,
and he
indeed.
goes, I've come to kill, and he gets three
God has got to send me to
bursts.
judge you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all
Yes.
super jump too.
Yeah. Yeah. He is
And they all super jump 8, by the way. So they short skill jump
Surprise!
into melee with their jet
Wait,
propulsion, and then
They all have
hit
jet
you.
propulsion.
Yeah.
Oh, so
yep.
they're like full on like Gundam, like around the corner.
Oh, and they do it as an NCO order. The Seraph is wild.
Sarah's
Like,
got a big glow up. Well, yeah, he's gonna be on
Yeah.
your list of top 5 big changes, I think, for them for sure.
for military orders.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So it's cool that there's no pilots except for the exploding guys now.
I think so. I think the lizard
No,
kept his pilot.
Yeah, they basically switched over the ancillary stuff to being these like little pop out, so that your tag can actually do objectives and stuff now. So you can
And
pop
then-
them out and have them do things.
And they're all remote.
Yep.
So they
All
can't
rems.
cautious move.
Yeah, they can't cautious move. They're REMs. They don't generate orders. So
And
they have
most of
that
them are only
peripheral
whip
rule.
12. Some of them are higher, but most of them are 12.
Most of them are 12, yeah, because it's the guy back
pushing
home. I mean, the
buttons.
Squall Mark III is with 13, which is weird for a
Hey,
tag.
that's pretty good for pushing
Ariadna.
buttons.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the ancillary is a new thing. Each
But
peripheral,
also, it's like if the guy gets it, like if you go and grab a supply box, then the ancillary has it. You don't like jump back in your tag and run away with the supply box.
How am I going to evacuate my Yodems?
You could. Oh no, you can't pass it off anymore.
No, you
That
can't.
6 is last launch.
Doesn't matter.
For-
Last Lynch is gone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
that's not just dead.
They fixed it.
Moving
For
on,
future
moving on. Remote presence looks pretty much the same. The Gizmo Kit codes are still there for coming back. Sapper, the space in which these are activated, the foxhole space must be the height equal to or greater than the silhouette template of the state. Otherwise, the trooper will not be able to enter the foxhole state and will perform an idle instead. You can deploy as a soccer token, which is the 40 mil one, and you go into the foxhole state. It's still the same.
Mhm.
Sensor still with +6 on a control. And can discover
I mean, we can
camo
kinda just-
markers.
Yeah.
I think it's the
like,
same.
A lot of these are the same. Tagcom is new and is neat where
Six
because you don't get
standard.
pilots anymore. If you bring the guy who has Tagcom, like basically everyone who has access to a tag gets a Tagcom guy who
No
gives a flat buff to all tags that are in its combat group.
Yep.
While
Like a
they're both
mechanic kind of.
deployed. Yeah, they're neat. I mean, they're basically all of them that I've seen are +3 Fizz, +1 Gizmo Kit,
Except for the
except-
Ariadna one.
who's +1/+1 because he's
Yeah,
just worse.
He's bad at school.
Well, I've
Uh,
just found some weird stuff before. So
Okay, I'm gonna keep
So-
going though because you have to read it.
Yep.
okay, in stealth, there's a remember. Combat instinct ignores stealth, but I don't think combat instinct says that.
Stealth is not effective against troopers with the combat instinct or sixth sense special skills or against deployable weapons or pieces of equipment. So combat instinct ignores just the penalties, I believe, for surprise attack. And then sixth sense is that plus ignoring stealth.
No, but combat instinct also ignores stealth.
Well, the call it says it does. Yeah, I'm just looking
Yeah.
to see. I'm just looking
Which
to
is-
see if that's in the rule for Combat Instinct right now. Combat Instinct is just ignore surprise attack mods. Important, the stealth special school is not effective, so it's in a call out. It's another case of it's in the red box, Dan. So Combat Instincts, the effect is ignore the surprise attack mods from attack. I don't know why they keep doing this. This is like our third time we found this. Where was the other place we found it last time? It was under. It was something else where it ignored like a corner case ability or something like that. But this is the same thing.
Cautious move.
Cautious move.
Yeah.
Where everyone can do it except for tags, except for if you read this other page.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And this in Combat Instinct, it says the special skill is not effective against troopers with the Combat Instinct. So basically, it's not an effect, but there's a red call out box. It should just be an effect. It should just be an effect in the box. I don't know why it isn't. So dumb. Yeah, these important red callouts are like corner cases where rules interact with each other. Those can just be effects. There's no reason for them to be in this.
Really weird. I wonder if they'll fix it up. Like,
No.
if they forgot to put it in Combat
I mean, if they didn't do it,
I bet
here,
you the wiki will just copy paste this data, and that'll be that.
probably.
And
Yeah.
we'll just have a clickable, easy to look at. At least it's all together.
Yeah.
Triangulated fire doesn't let you shoot outside your max range.
Straight up buff. There's
Oh,
no
this was
downside
it was
anymore.
Warhorse. We were thinking of Warhorse. So
Yeah.
Warhorse is the new veteran.
Veteran.
It allows you to not be affected by loss of lieutenant. You're immune to the isolated state. You're immune to the retreat state. And then important to call it at the bottom, you're immune to BS attack minus X. So for whatever reason, that's not an effect. That's a call out, even though it could
It is an
literally just
effect.
be a bullet point. It's an effect. Yeah. Yeah. That was the other one.
Triangulated fire, though, no longer has that -3.
That was
It's
nice.
just
Yeah.
ignore any mods.
Just all mods. Yeah.
Which is actually crazy in my opinion, because now
Well, let's
if
talk
you
about Mr.
have
Fennec
a
Fusilier with
decent
the
stat,
Thunderbolt.
right?
Fennec Fusilier with the Thunderbolt, who's 18 point or 14 points.
he just hits on 12s.
He just hits
Bap,
on
bap.
12s
Bap, bap.
at up to 32 with
Like
his
across the
burst
board.
with his burst 3 HMG.
And like,
Is it burst 3?
He's
He
got
has a plus one
on
burst.
it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. He's a hero. And he's thinking about
Like-
a fire team, so it's burst 4.
I'm thinking like there's like some MIM 6 sniper on the other side of the board, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
And you're advantage
just, like,
bursting him with a
when you-
friggin' whatever, or a guy, or even that dude who Owen was talking about, the aerial
Suppression, mimetism,
burst BS minus 6,
BS attack -3 or
you're
whatever,
just
and
like,
then you're just
whatever,
like, yep.
dodging the line
Cool.
of fire, and cool. It's a long skill, so you have to start in line of fire, so you have to kind of set it up with a dodge. But then once you've done that, it's like, yeah, whatever, let's go.
Fire teams give +1 fizz for dodge.
Yep.
Level 3,
And then
right?
transmutation is the other big
The way
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk about,
adjustment. Where I mean, it's not actually that complicated. Basically, everybody who has a transmutation, which is to say your stat line changes from one stat line to another.
Yep.
You have a shared health pool between both of them. As the health pool gets to a certain tier, you switch to the other profile and you don't get to go back. So if, for example, you are Maximus,
That's X. That's transmutation X. If you take a certain number of wounds.
and then escape system X is you get to place Eclipse Spoke,
Yep.
and then you put the other little guy down, or the profile just changes. And then there's hatching, which is tied to the seed embryos. There's transmutation auto, which I think is
That's Sujan.
entirely
That's the Sujan. That's transformation one. And Zoonautica, where you can turn from
the
bike into guy.
Zoonautica. Yep. And then
Anybody who goes
transmutation
from
whip,
to other.
which I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
This is something new, yeah. Before declaring an order arrow, you pass from a whip roll, you can change your. Basically, it's a worse version of auto. You have to like hulk yourself up to it. So I feel like this is one of those ones where it's going to be like the Guyver, where like the weird genetic freaks and like nomads can change form, but they got to like zhuzh themselves up to do it. It would be cool if the dog soldiers could do it. Right? Transmutation whip. They have transmutation wounds, but if there was some cool dog face who could go from like his human form to his psyched up super thing.
There is a whip. Oh, I can't remember. Was it Ariadna?
I don't know.
Or there was something in the
dream you had?
Facebook. No. It was one of those previews of like, hey, this exists. but it's I think transmutation whip they change back at the end of the turn or something. So they gotta like spend an order to like beef themselves up, and then they go out and fight. It exists. I don't know who it is. Let me look for it.
Well, let's jump under Skillz and see if it's in there. I didn't see it anywhere in Ariadna. So if it's been
maybe it's not Ariadna.
Yeah,
it might not be out yet or something. I don't know.
The Ratnik, Chernobog, and Dog Warriors have it in Ariadna right now, and that's just Battle Ravaged for the robots and the normal transformation for the other one. So who knows? I'm hoping Nomads get something weird with their crazy, whatever, chemistry superstar stuff. And that's it for Skillz, guys. We did it. We did another one. We got through. We broke it down. How do you guys feel about some of these changes? Because, I guess the final one, it's not really a skill, but should we talk about fire teams? Let's do it. Let's just drop fire teams in here, too.
Okay, I found it.
What is it?
It's Nomads, the Switchers Gruppa.
Switchers Gruppa. It's exactly what I was talking about. Yep. So they have they basically have Courage Dogged and then Transformation Whip like human profile. And then they Hulk out to a 6'4", CC 23, Fizz 14, Berserk +3, X Visor, Courage, Dodge +2, Dogged Immunity BTS, Martial Arts 1.
They go from CC 15 to 23, BS 12 to 13, Fizz 10 to
They've
Fizz
all got
14.
final close combat weapons that are possibility survival 6. But they have decent guns too. Like their BS 12 human profile and their big hulked out profile have like Thunderbolts, EM grenades, EM carbines, BS attack +1 burst. How about an EM carbine with +1 burst? An EM grenades with +1
that
burst.
is not nearly as uncommon as you would think it is.
I'm just saying. It is on a guy who's arm 3, BTS 3, structure 1. They have structure, not wounds too, so they're immune to viral, which is interesting.
Let me tell you about my good friend the Guilo.
Yeah.
Because he also got an EM carbine +1 burst on every profile.
Hooray.
For no reason.
Hooray.
Oh, no, and it clarifies. It's when you activate them, you get a free roll.
Free roll
cool.
To try and do it. And if you don't do it,
then you're stuck, at least for that order. If you order him again, then you can try again.
He can keep like pushing hard and be like, I'm trying to like get it up.
Wait, but when does it go away?
It doesn't, I don't think. You can just make another whip roll. So you can try and change back
during that player turn. Its second unit profile is applied during that player turn. So I guess.
Oh, so you go back at the end of your turn.
Yeah. So an ARO, you're stuck in.
And you can turn back so what happens is if you ARO, you can try and turn back during the ARO too.
You're right. Look at that.
Because it's order or ARO.
As an ARO, you roll the whip again. It's I don't know if I like it. It's kind of cool, but like seems unnecessarily complicated.
It's just different. I'm fine with it.
It's
probably, honestly, it's why the dude with a Thunderbolt, EM grenades, EM carbine, and that stat line is only 25 points. Right? Like, or 18 points for the AP submachine gun, flashballs, EM grenade one. That's an FO. Like, they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they're unhackable. You know what I mean? They're just tough. So yeah, let's talk about fire teams to round this off, because I do think this is the big thing to talk about. And Owen, do you want to lead this one? Because I feel like you've made up your mind about this and how it impacts the game. So I think it's worth having you take the baton on this one.
I mean, sure. There's a ton of parts that make up fire teams, and like even more that go into what the impacts of these changes are. So like,
and those are army by army. You're just talking about like the core
right.
Fire team rule, right?
Yeah. So the fire team rules are effectively the same. There's Duo Harris Core, and the method of creating them are models that are capable of joining a fire team. If models who join the fire team have the same profile or have a bracket profile that is the same, they benefit from higher levels of a fire team. And each level in a fire team increases an ability that all of the troopers gain. So at level 1, which is one guy, it could be 2 guys that are not the same. They get to move together. If out of the fire team, 2 of the people in it are the same unit, you gain +1 special dice on all BS attacks by anyone in that group.
Yep.
If 3 of the people are the same, you gain all of the previous benefits and +3 discover and +1 to dodge for the group. At level 4, you get +1 to your ballistic skill. And at level 5, you get 6 cents.
And I love that it's level 5 or 6 cents, because we predicted this in N4. We're like, it's the most powerful skill in the game. It shouldn't be the top tier.
So now it requires you to all have matching profiles, or sorry, all be the same unit, or bracket unit, in order to get to Sixth Sense.
Matches,
And Sixth Sense is also not as good as it was. Like it still is very powerful. Like the ability to ARO outside a line of fire without penalty is really, really powerful. But now it's so much harder to get to, and also all the other benefits that you got along the way just aren't as good. Like you only really wanted to get to 2. The rest of them are fine.
It's funny because this is more similar to N2 fire teams where they all had to come from the same profile. There was no such thing yet as wild cards or counts as being from the same profile. Like this was the only way to do it back in N2. And Steel Phalanx was the first thing that kind of broke that. And there's also one kind of fire team, which was core. Now there's multiple kinds of fire teams. So this is kind of a return to the old way of doing fire teams, but they've also stripped off the overall like ceiling of the power level of what the bonuses are that you gain.
Yeah, the biggest thing in my opinion is the fact that the BS attack special dice is considerably weaker than an additional burst. Like it feels like it that they're the same, but they in practicality are not even close. Like your ability to be marginally more accurate because you roll 2 dice in no way makes up for half the damage you could potentially cause. And I think it isn't obvious until you start playing just how powerful multi-wound models are running into link teams that before would have just been wiped away. And then you stack that with you don't have Sixth Sense, you don't see it coming from behind, and you don't all get to fire multiple templates because of the shotgun nerf. So like some groups still have it, but even them who have those templates, like for example, you have that one guy in the group who has a chain rifle or a flamethrower, he only shoots 1. He doesn't get any bonus. The special dice doesn't do anything for him. Like, doesn't do anything for him. That's right. There might as well not even have him in the group. Like they other than to move around, basically none of these abilities affect him until you get to level 5.
Possibly, yeah. So the I think that is the best way of explaining it is that you've been defensively neutered, not in so much as like if you were never a full fire team to begin with, your defensive like ability to win the fight is the same because you're just going for instancing on the dice, but you're going to stay in that fight because you're probably not killing what's coming after you if it's a multi-wound model or something that's going to be like a gunfighter. So you don't have the ability to keep going afterwards. So the lethality reduction in ARO is more about stopping what's attacking you or making it, get its single wound down so that it thinks twice about doing it. Cause now its do-over is basically gone.
And even a lot of the power weapons, like the Fearbach and the missile launcher and the multi-HMG in its variant fire mode, they're all worse because they can't get +1 burst anymore. Period. Like unless you get something to give them +1 burst, the best they can hope for is to be marginally more accurate. So those Fusilier missile launcher links that were shooting 2 missiles on 15s, that's just gone. Like they'll never do that ever. Like they'll at best be 13s on 1.5 dice. They might win the roll, but you have no time where your wound 3 guy is going to take 6 armor saves. You just never will. And odds are you'll pass 1 save and then you're alive. And they went from I can kill you instantly reliably to I can't kill you. And that does, and
even the game that we just played with like Joan getting up and slapping up the long wang it survived because it's like you had to keep throwing away 1 die. So even in the active turn, like just a lethality of like these core pieces of just like murdering things, it's like that I threw at least 3 or 4 less saves than I normally would have.
And that is the other side of it, that the BS +1, like also I wonder what the math is on 2 dice pick what you want versus 10% additional hit. Like is losing the extra 2 BS that you used to get the same as getting the extra dice pick the best?
I mean, what it does is it increases the value of mod stacks. It increases the value of mimetism. It increases the value of, BS attack.
Well, it also just reduces the overall number of successes in all instances, right? Like the Bane Drain's a good example because it goes from no failure state to failure state. right? Like that's an infinite amount of now more failure
with your shotgun at close range. Like
the shotgun still hits on a 20, but
that's what I mean. But like
the thing was is Jones' gun hit on 21s before, and now it doesn't, and like
before
that's
mods.
a big deal.
Before mods it on 21s. I get what you're saying.
That was with the range mods. That was with range mod.
I'm just saying, if you're in optimum range, they're not in cover and they have no mods against you. You're hitting on 21s. Yes.
Yeah, and now you don't. You hit on 19, 18, and like that means that you could just roll bad and you could fail, whereas before they couldn't. And like it applies to things like throwing smoke grenades, because of the smoke grenades being adjusted to not give you the +3. Guys who used to be basically guaranteed, and if they weren't guaranteed, they'd roll 2. Now are not only not guaranteed, they only still roll 1. Well, they get the 2 dice, which is kind of the same thing, but now you can't throw smoke in 2 spots at once.
Yeah, you're right. And so let's talk about the offense then. So Dan, would you want to make a point before we keep going? Because I think we've hammered Owen's point to death that you are far less defensive.
I think the special dice are a buff to disposable equipment.
Sure.
Because you can throw 2 dice and all you need is 1 to succeed, and you drop the other one, and you only use 1 instance of your equipment. Now, it's easier to reload now, but the fact is you still have to spend orders to reload. So if you don't have to, then that's great.
Or you don't, and you just reload for free at the end of the turn.
What I'm saying is if you throw both at the same time, and you fail both, if you have a special die, you can do that twice if you have 2 ammo or something.
You're
like
right. Yeah. Increase the chance of actually landing it. I think that what I'd like to talk about on top of this, though, is because you kind of alluded to this with Joan, is that they are far less capable of active turn winning too.
Yeah.
Right. And that's that ability to just like, I mean, you and I both faced it with, what was it, Linked Nauf in Starco at Colder Than Carbonite, where he just smoked Nauf, stacked his mods, gun fought through the full Peter team, and murdered his way through, this model, then this model, then this model, then this model. And you could build teams like that before, where you had this like super Death Star, basically, of like this premier gunfighter going and fighting things. You can't really do that anymore. And that's not just in the composition of the lists, but this full stack removes fully an extra dice, right? So you might win the fight more reliably, but you don't land an extra hit. Even if you hit with all your hits, you're still dropping a dice at the end.
I mean, on average, you're doing 30% less damage.
Yeah.
Well, which is the thing is like the things that did the damage though were Quake power weapons, right? Like it's not that big a deal whether a combi or a Spitfire did an extra damage, because they were already rolling like multiple medium or low damage.
Yeah.
It was the Fuhrbox and missiles and Panzerfausts and like all these weapons that had been single taps, but with this one mechanic of fire teams doubled their damage output on an already incredibly high like damage rate. That was in my opinion the big shift, where all of these weapons that used to be the, like, how many times did we play a game, Dan, where I had a linked guy with a Panzerfaust and you couldn't move around because he could just double tap you and blow you up, and you could be anything in the game.
Anything in the game would just die from getting hit like that.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden,
well, and I think actually the relevant thing here is actually more the composition than it is this fire team chart. Yes, the chart of bonuses is significantly weaker, but you're accepting that you're really only ever getting to level 2, probably, if you're including one of those guns now. Because typically those guns are on guys who are not part of whatever your bigger team is.
Right. So you can sneak it into Harris. You have the one big guy, and then you have the 2 guys that create the level 2.
Exactly.
Right. Or if it's a core, it's a bit easier.
And that means you're never getting to 6th Sense, or you're never getting to +1 burst.
No,
like there's
not with the big crazy guys.
Not with the big crazy guys who
sometimes
tend to be wild cards, or they're AVA 1, right? So if they're AVA 1 in the fire team composition, you can never have 5 of them. Right, they have to go into a mixed team, and that seems to be the most common.
There are some, like the military orders, Joan. You can have all those special characters. They all have the same
one.
tag.
I mean, but that's the one.
The Invincible Army.
There's the Zanshi. I was gonna say there's the not Zanshi's, the
Shang-Chi.
The Shang-Chi. No, the
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is the other one, because they all get
the Shang-Chi's is, but there's also the cheapo one that I was thinking of in Invincible. Zhu Yong's, yeah.
Yeah, both of them have the invisible tag, so they're interchangeable.
Yeah,
and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 special characters that also have the tag.
But you can't make a cheap one with Zanshi's and throw in some kind of wild card that's a great gunfighter. Because if
Right.
you do, they're invincible, but they're not Xanshis. So
Dude, it's great because I was building a Xanshi link, and just my experience, I was like, okay, well, I have this guy that you need for the link, and then I have this guy that has a tag, and this guy that has a tag, and I need one guy that's not has a tag, but it's like, do I get another useful person and only get fire team bonus level 3, or bring another mediocre person so I can get that extra BS attack?
Yeah.
Via stat, and it's just like it was a decision, and it was like that was cool. It was like it felt new and exciting to figure out how to build a fire team.
Yeah,
Tyler, I doubt you're listening, but I'm sorry about your Riot Girl link. They deserved it, but I'm sorry. There's a guy in our local group who played 2 Riot Girls with missiles in a link of mooks, and they were BS a million, and they fired 2, and now they will never get 2 hits anymore.
That's it. Not
do they not exist in?
Oh, they
never
do.
get
You'll never get 2 hits anymore
because you can't get the.
Hits.
And even if he makes it pure, at best they can get to his 14, which I think he already did that because it was already a mixed link. But even then, it require 4 of the same thing. And Riot Girls are a little but that means like you're putting Fiddler and Avicenna, or you're bringing 4 Riot Girls. Like it's a totally different animal than having 2 Riot Girls and a bunch of nobodies hanging around.
Yeah.
Another thing to note is it was before it was either fully pure or fully not. You break one thing and you get no pure, and you get none of the pure bonuses.
Yeah. Now it's just head count.
Now it's a level of purity of the fire team. It just feels so refreshing. I remember as a new player playing vanilla at first and moving into Starmada and trying to figure out fire teams and being like, what the hell is this crap? Like, why is this so crazy powerful? And how the hell do I use this properly? But it was like, it never left me of like, why do fire teams get so many effing bonuses?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell? Like, you can't not afford, because the +2 burst in ARO is insane. Like +1 burst, or having 2 burst, right? Or just, it's just crazy. And now it's like, for me, it's like, this is what I've wanted the whole time. This is how I felt like the game should have been played the whole time. And it feels really good.
I think what we're going to see is this is going to bring back the mid-tier gunfighter who's like a solo piece as being worthwhile, because he can actually compete against those fire teams now when he hunts them in active turn.
And he's almost as likely as surviving as they are the defenses. Like they're not that much better than him anymore.
Well, because he can suppress. That's the difference. Is suppression got infinitely better because suppression can kill you. Can kill anybody.
Did we talk about how if you only have 10 orders in your list, you can't get reduced orders anymore?
No, because we haven't talked about gameplay modes yet. But that is, they brought back what's the word? Reinforced
limited insertion.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's baked into the strategic use.
Yeah, it's just baked into the reduction of order pools. You can't do it to something that's only got 10 orders. Or sorry, 10 models. Yeah, 10 orders.
How have we not talked about guided?
Because it's a weapon and ammo trait. I think we talked about it yesterday in the last one, didn't we?
No, we skipped over it.
Because it's a thing that everyone gets upset about, and like it's in there somewhere, but
we just skipped right over it.
It's a weapon trait. It's an ammo type, isn't it?
It should be a skill.
I thought it was a skill, but it's not a skill.
I think it's a trait. Oh. It's an ammo trait.
It's an ammo type. It's guided. Weird. It has to be. Because I guess there's nowhere else. I don't even see it there actually under ammunition. Weaponry,
it's changed
maybe
a lot. Nope. Let's just talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
I know we're already going further and further than we intended. But
that's okay. We'll just finish this off. Ammunition combined.
First thing about guided, weaponry. It doesn't always get +6. It has range bands based on how far you are when you're shooting the guide.
Yep.
So most of the time it's going to be +6, I would imagine, but not always. And so so that's nerf there. So it's like it could be just you don't get the automatic +6. Second nerf, you can reset against it and dodge. If you reset, you do get -3 because of Spotlight. Spotlight gives you -3, you reset rolls. But it's a face-to-face roll, and if you win, you dodge the missile and you remove Spotlight from you.
Sure
so there is a end state of I can dodge out of this missile, and if I do it successfully one time, then it won't hit me again. until I get spotlighted again. Third nerf, Spotlight as a hacking program got a buff as in its burst 2, but now it's not automatic. It has a saving roll. And so if you have a high BTS, good luck getting Spotlight on that person through a hacking program. But also Fairy Dust, all that kind of stuff. Like it's not guaranteed at all.
It's baked into the BS attack skill, by the way. Guided is just in the BS attack skill. If the trooper with BS attack guided skill, during the active turn, they may perform a BS attack against the model in the targeted state without requiring line of fire. It must be carried out with the weapon's blast mode if it has one, or a mode with the impact template circular trait if the weapon does not have a mode with that.
Third nerf, or fourth.
Yeah.
If no longer AP explosive, it's just explosive. Yeah.
Yeah, a trooper can avoid a BS attack guided with a successful dodge or face-to-face reset. If reset is successful, in addition to avoiding the damage, you also cancel targeted. And then restriction, unless the skill itself indicates otherwise, the B will always be 1, regardless of the actual burst value of the weapons applied to it. The distance the target cannot exceed its maximum range. The target cannot be in an enclosed room. Has a limit of 5 attacks per turn. Weapons with the BS attack PH or BS attack whip trait cannot be used with the BS attack guided skill. The user must apply any range mods. Other negative mods, for example, mimetism, partial cover, and invisibility zones, are not applied unless they specifically work against BS attack guided. So, like there's the guided.
Mine's 8 ECM. Yeah, on the Zeta.
Guided.
Wait.
Everyone else is 6.
Can you get special dice on guided now?
Nope.
It's not.
You could get special dice
yes.
on guided. Yes, you could actually, unless the skill itself, the burst will always be 1, regardless of the actual burst value of the weapons and any mods applied to it. But special dice don't count. Yeah, because it doesn't change burst.
So there are some factions that can link the missile bot and can get special dice.
Sure can. Yep, actually, the Nomads can do that. And the Aleph can do that with the
Combined Army can do that.
Yeah,
Eugene can do that.
So that is an interesting bonus to guided, because bonus dice are not a burst increase. Rules as written, you would be able to put like what's that fire team called? The Daikini fire team can have a.
You just need 2 purity, right? Or a Harris. You're right. You get 2 people.
Yeah.
2 people that are pure, and then
the fire team is here. Wild cards.
I mean, for Combined Army, they could do 2 Nox troopers and that guy.
And BSI guided is baked in. So the missile launcher is 16 points for BSI guided. It's a wild card, and it can join any fire team in the SSS list.
The High Duke lost guided. Truly, it's the darkest of days.
Who?
The High Duke. It's stupid. Who had the guided?
Does the Nox Trooper still have it?
Rifle? Remember, someone had the guided sniper.
The High Duke did, but the Nox Trooper still does. He has a guided multi-sniper still.
Guided multi-sniper.
Guided multi-sniper? That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, because it's the eraser gun, right? It's the railroad that shoots through walls.
Yep.
Somebody had guided. It was the plasma rifles on the Overdrawn. I thought used to have guided. Yep. Still. Oh no, he has ECM guided -6 now. Plasma sniper +1 burst.
The Haite has it. One of the new reinforcements for Eugene.
There you go.
There you go. Also, just on a fun fact, a lot of those missile bots have a FTO variant that has just +1 burst.
It wouldn't count for.
It doesn't work for that, but just in the list of things that can get multiple missiles out, this is one of them. Is the fact that like a whole bunch of these bots that would only otherwise have 1 on active turn have 2.
And remember, they are targeted, so you do get the targeted bonus for that roll, right? So you'd be +3 for targeted. You'd be probably, if it's in 48, you're +3 for range, so you're still +6 effectively.
Yep,
because you don't count mimetism, you don't count cover. So did it really change if you're targeted and +3 for range?
Reset and you can't do it again. It's a pretty big deal.
That's a big deal. Don't get me wrong. Huge deal.
And also targeted not being a free thing of like, oh, you failed your reset or whatever. It's just automatic.
But I'm saying you're still rolling an 18, potentially with a burst advantage dice against.
Well, also the other thing is that whip is higher on almost every model except for compared to Fizz. With like some outliers.
Oh, I mean, even you do it on a Fusilier. Like they're still whip 12 against whip 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You suffer the penalty from out of line of fire attacks, but that's it.
Right.
No, you don't suffer the penalty from out of it. You suffer the penalty for dodge for out of line of fire. You suffer the penalty for spotlight at -9.
Reset wouldn't do it. That's right. Yeah.
Reset.
What's the spotlight penalty?
Minus three
for out of line of
So
sight.
it's the same thing, basically. So if you're resetting your -3, if you're dodging your -3.
But like Hack-Islam goes from a 7 to an 11.
Yeah, for sure. It's still better. But I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure the missile bot's still hitting on 18s.
Yeah, I think missile bots are still strong and they're still fine. They can do their thing. And
the bonus dice not adding to your burst, actually, it would be the first time they're ever rolling on 2 dice.
That's true. Maybe I think
they're not dead.
But I really like that it's a lot more interactive of trying to get
there's more choices, there's more options. 100%. I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's still.
And then they make saves, and then there's a state.
Yeah. Guided is still a thing. And I guess it's still technically. I think it actually is a skill. So we're actually talking about it in the right place because if I look at it, it's in the skill section for the Lamech.
Yeah.
Right. So we are actually doing this at the right time. We win no matter what.
Another note, a lot of the, we're somewhat talking about hacking programs now, but spotlighting someone is now harder to do. And there's a bunch of cards for missions that you need to spotlight somebody. Now it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder. Sometimes it's going to be like,
explain though, why is it harder?
Because Spotlight gets a save now.
Oh, because you can make an armor save against Spotlight. That's right.
Just make an armor save. It's just like a whole
you don't just
other
gain
thing.
The state. Yeah, there's additional roll now for Spotlight.
And it's not like, hey, look, this guy is like BTS 12. And you're like, Spotlight. And now it's like, I'll never get through.
That's you're not spotlighting that guy. He does not care. He turns it off and turns it back on again. I'm here for it. All right, I think we're done. Hooray! Hooray! We can talk about armies after this, which is the real fun of all this stuff.
Wow.
The real fun. I think we save talking about missions and stuff until we see the ITS pack. Because these missions in the rulebook, I don't really care about.
You really think we're getting a new ITS pack?
I don't care about talking about missions in general.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, when we talk about like the strategic use of tokens and setting up the game and stuff like that, when we see what the mix of missions is, that's, I think, when it's actually more relevant. Right now we talk about armies. The what you play for is more relevant. We know what we're actually playing for, not just the 3 missions that are in here.
Right.
But yeah, you're convinced we're getting an updated ITS pack?
They said we were going to.
Rumor says January 16.
Yeah, they said we were going to.
That's very exciting.
This one was just to get you by. And then they're going to unveil, because they have to push the story forward. Like, the ITS is supposed to be reflective of where the story's at. So that's why it was supposed to be like, this is
that's going to be like a couple weeks before Carbonite.
Probably. To be fair, is Carbonite happening?
Yeah.
Is
you can already pay to get into it.
Oh, fantastic. There you go.
Like I'm looking forward to it. Like I say, not because I don't want to go do Carbonite, but because good luck, everyone. Like,
that's what I mean. Like, it's
I hope you guys are playing games because, like,
yeah. Get
go out and play a little bit because it's gonna be weird. Every list that you
event,
everything that you think is good is not good anymore, and things that were bad.
If I were to sum up how people play Infinity in like Alberta, there's a lot of old guard, there's a few new players, and all of them combined play a few games here and there.
Sure.
And everyone kind of shows up. Some people show up with the same stuff every time. Some people show up with kind of like a new stuff, a new faction. But it's kind of everyone feels kind of almost slightly rusty in a general sense of we're playing Infinity. And everyone loves it, but it's just they just haven't played a ton outside.
But I think that's what happens late in an edition. Like, that's the natural you're most excited at the beginning of an edition. At the end of N4, everybody's kind of just still playing because it's the thing they love doing. But
I'm so curious to see the vibe. I want to see if people try to bring their old N4 armies.
So some people will. I guarantee some people will. Guarantee.
And then I'm going to lose to him.
Just watch. Owen's going to bring 23 turrets, and it's going to be obnoxious.
No. I've talked myself off of that. Where I like the idea. I'm still going to spam turrets. Don't get me wrong. It's just going to be very specific ones that I'm going to go fish out.
Right. Like, you're not going to make your whole identity spawning turrets. I hear what you're saying.
I'm looking at that OSS that I like. I think
The emitter
It's real
turret
good.
sounds terrifying.
I was also
Yeah.
looking at my OSS army.
like they're literally sitting in front of me right now. Like I picked up
Yeah.
all of the Shukra / Yadu /
Mine already painted.
Asuras.
I painted the whole model line.
Mine are still painted.
Yeah. The only thing I don't have is I don't have a Rudris because I gave it to you.
He's painted too.
I know he is.
Yeah. I don't think I bring a Rudra though. I like him.
I don't think so either.
He's
I like him
great,
too.
but if he has to fight against the Garuda and the Daywans, oh my god, the Garuda,
His big
new Garuda
base-
is an animal.
Well, but his big base screwed up his climbing plus, and not being able to like just surf around with climbing plus, and having to be able to play like having to place his base at the end of his move. I don't.
Garuda's 8/6 now with super
Oh,
jump.
I know the Garudas,
So-
are
and he's 18 points.
I love the Garudas. Yeah, the
Zoom.
Drumpters are fantastic.
You don't even need to drop him. You can just walk around because he's
Yeah.
crazy
He's
fast.
crazy
like-
fast. Oh, he
Dude, on
parachutes
my
in.
painting
walks.
desk is the 3 jackboots, which I thought were absolutely fucking useless, and I was so disappointed that I had to buy 3 of them in the reinforces box. And I'm like, ooh,
No, that Garuda
EP
just goes
Thunderbolt
8
turtle.
every turn with super jump.
No, he's 8/6. He doesn't have super jump 8.
Oh,
So
he's
he
8-6.
just
You're right.
jump
Yeah.
6.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So he only moves 14.
Yeah.
Wherever
But he gets to
feels
keep his mimetism and good
Yeah.
BS, and also you can still marksmanship
like.
him.
And so marksmanship him. Give him a Spitfire. No, I always love this guy. He's great.
Yeah. Yep.
And he gets a chain colt.
And the fact
that-
14 chain colt.
The fact that he could just move 8 and be prone at the end,
right?
like
do we
Yeah.
want to introduce the grab bag for people to comment on for us to talk about things?
The mailbag.
Yeah.
I was gonna remind people at the end of the next one. But we can remind them now. The link is in the last video description too. So it's
We may
filling
not
up
get
right
to
now.
it for a while, but it exists
Yeah.
still.
It's filling up. I think we'd start doing the mailbag after we do the first army, like the first hyperpower look through. Because what I think we should do for the next one is we start looking at armies, and we just pick a hyperpower and we work our way down. So like we start with Pano, and then each of us does like we all as a group talk about the vanilla one, and then each of us does a list. So Owen, you can do military orders. I'm playing Kestrel, so I'll do Kestrel, and then Dan, you do Svartalheim.
I don't know anything about Pano.
Exactly. You don't have. No one does, Dan. No one knows anything about anything. This is a
I
whole
don't know how
new
true
game.
that is. I
Make
don't
a
know.
list.
Maybe it's just worth going one
Oh,
faction
we each
at a
make a
time.
list for each one.
Yeah, and like we all play vanilla Pano in quotes, and
Yeah.
then see what you think is the thing that is cool in vanilla Pano.
Yeah.
Like looking at what's in there. Like I think the drummer is hilarious.
Yeah, like the top 5. We do top 5s thing again. So we pick our top 5 units. We talk about those units.
Well, no, build a list, and then what is
Yeah,
it
that's
that
what I mean,
makes your
build a
list
list with
good?
it. Yeah,
Like what is the thing that makes your list function?
Yep.
Other than the fact that the cutter doesn't have tackaware.
Yeah.
Sucker.
We're
But
pretty
then
mad about
also,
this.
like, we could go through multiple factions in one podcast if we're just doing highlights.
That's what I mean. Well, that's what I mean is we do all of Pano in just like 1 hour long podcast, basically doing it that way. So instead of doing like a deep dive, we talk
You
about
guys are
vanilla.
forcing me to
build
look
lists.
through things and try to understand
You have
what's
to make
happening.
4 army lists. You'll be fine.
Oof.
You'll be fine. All right. I think I'm done. I'm gonna put the kids to bed.
Well, there you go.
There
All right,
we
good night.
go.
See ya.
Bye.